In the quiet hum of the city, where skyscrapers kissed the clouds, lived Elara. She was an architect, a weaver of dreams in steel and glass, whose hands once shaped the very skyline she now watched from her window. Her name was whispered in hushed, reverent tones in the halls of design, a symbol of brilliance. But that was before the fall, before the accident that shattered more than just her body. It fractured her spirit. Now the hands that once drew blueprints for giants lay still in her lap, and the world she had built for others felt like a cage she had designed for herself. The days bled into one another, marked only by the shifting light across the floor. Her studio, once a sanctuary of creation, had become a mausoleum of memory. Blank canvases mocked her from their easels. Pencils, once extensions of her soul, lay untouched, gathering dust like forgotten relics. Elara would sit for hours, surrounded by the ghosts of what she used to be. The silence was deafening, filled with the echoes of a single catastrophic failure, the one that had left her bound to a wheelchair. Each time she thought of picking up a pencil, a cold wave of fear washed over her. What if she couldn't? What if the magic was gone? What if the only thing she could build now was a monument to her own inadequacy? The fear was a wall, higher and more imposing than any structure she had ever conceived. It whispered to her that her worth was tied to her ability to stand, to move, to be the person she was before. And so she remained still, a prisoner in the fortress of her own past. One morning, as the sun's first rays painted the room in hues of gold and amber, something shifted. A single beam of light fell upon an old blueprint, illuminating a complex design she had drafted years ago. It was intricate, bold, a testament to a mind that saw possibilities where others saw none. She looked at her hands, still and resting, and then back at the drawing. A profound realization washed over her, as clear and piercing as the morning light. The accident had broken her body, yes, but the true paralysis, the one that held her captive, wasn't in her legs. It wasn't in her spine. It was in the space between her thoughts. It wasn't her body that was paralyzed. It was her mind. The fear of not being perfect, the shame of her perceived weakness. These were the chains. Her physical limitation was a fact, but her mental prison was a choice. With a deep, shuddering breath, Elara wheeled herself toward the dusty drafting table. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat of doubt and hope. Her hand trembled as she reached for a pencil, the smooth, familiar wood a shock to her senses. For a moment, she hesitated. The ghosts of failure swirled around her, their whispers growing louder. But this time, another voice rose to meet them, a quiet, determined whisper from within. It spoke not of perfection, but of possibility, not of the past, but of the present. Her fingers closed around the pencil. She brought the tip to a fresh sheet of paper, a vast white desert of potential. And then she drew. It wasn't a grand design. It wasn't a skyscraper. It was just a line. A single, small, imperfect line. It wavered slightly, a testament to the tremor in her hand. But it was there. It was a beginning, a crack in the wall of fear. As she stared at that simple mark, a tear traced a path down her cheek, but it was not a tear of sorrow. It was a tear of release. In that one small act, Elara did not just draw a line, she redrew the blueprint of her own spirit. She found that courage wasn't about erasing the past, but about daring to draw over it. The rise doesn't always mean standing up. Sometimes it means daring to begin again. Follow Rise Within for more stories of strength and mindset.